What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please be sure to hit that subscribe button below to help me grow my channel. It would mean a lot to me as I try to build this thing up. And with that said, let's just get into the video. Today, we are going to be going through my 2021 NFL Draft Edge rankings. These are just based completely on what I saw on tape and my evaluations. I'm not worried about what the media is telling me to think. So without further ado, let's just get into it. This is going to be my top 6. So at number 6, I have Gregory Rousseau out of Miami. Now, Gregory Rousseau, a year ago, everyone thought that he would be one of the top 5 picks in this year's draft, and his draft stock has fallen a lot since. Now, his build is great for an edge rusher. He's what, 6'7", 265, which is like a perfect build for an edge rusher, and also an interior defensive lineman for that matter. And he has great bend around the line of scrimmage. I'll give him that. When he's, going around offensive tackles, he has just overall just excellent bend in that aspect. But his biggest weaknesses are just his explosiveness and his struggling to produce against NFL level tackles. His pro day numbers were absolutely awful, and that's one of the biggest reasons his draft stock fell. Actually, for me, that's the reason his draft stock fell. I think I had him at like edge 3 or 4 until we saw his pro day numbers, and I was like, there's no way I can take those numbers in the first round. So again, Gregory Rousseau, great player. He had excellent production. He just struggles against NFL tackles, which is a huge concern, and that lack of explosiveness in that poor pro day is something that's going to scare GMs away from taking him, and would scare me if I was a GM as well. So coming in at number 5, I have Joe Tryon out of Washington. That's pretty much an unpopular opinion because a lot of people aren't on the Joe Tryon train, but I am. Joe Tryon has excellent explosiveness. He had great production overall when he didn't opt out in 2019. And his bull rush is just, it's lethal. But his weakness is that he's not particularly dominant in general. Like, he never really had that big game where you're like, wow, this guy is ridiculous. Now, I'm not really concerned about that because his explosiveness and just that bull rush of his is just, it outperforms everything. And his pro day was great as well. So, Joe Tryon, very underrated prospect in my opinion. And he comes in at number 5 ahead of Gregory Rousseau for me. Now, at edge 4, I have Jayson Oweh out of Penn State. Jayson Oweh is an insane athlete. His pro day numbers were like not human. He is an incredible athlete, and he's a great tackler as well. He's great at chasing down running backs, and when you leave him unblocked, he's going to chase down the running back through the gap. Now, weaknesses, production is what I have listed on here. He didn't have production. In 2020 he had no sacks. So yeah, Jayson Oweh, the only reason he's at 4 is just because of that production. It's just scary. Now, we had guys like Danielle Hunter coming out of college who had terrible production and ended up developing into NFL studs. So I can see that happening with Jayson Oweh in the right situation. But overall, just that pure athleticism isn't enough to put him ahead of the guys that I have ranked ahead of him. So Jayson Oweh, athletic freak, a lot to work with there, just needs work on his technique, and production was a big concern at Penn State last year. Coming in at number 3, I have Kwity Paye out of Michigan. Kwity Paye's biggest strengths are his strength. He is really strong, put up excellent numbers on the bench press at his pro day, and he's great as a run defender overall, just one of the best run defenders in this draft class. And overall athleticism, again, just coming in with that strength, his speed, just everything overall with Kwity Paye, those 3 things are his biggest strengths. Now, his weakness is that he's not technically sound. When I was watching his film, he doesn't know how to use his hands quite right. His first step is pretty good, but again, just not technically sound overall. So again, there's a lot to work with there with him, the strength. He's also very good in run defense, I can't lie. And just his overall athleticism brings a lot to the table. But Kwity Paye, there's a concern with his run defense. But at edge 3, it's not like I'm saying he's terrible. I think he's very good. First round grade for me. Just not better than the other 2 guys I have ranked ahead of him. So coming in at number 2 is Azeez Ojulari out of Georgia. This is a guy that I'm a lot higher on than most people, just because he's the best edge rusher in this class in terms of pure production. He had a great season last year, and his first step is incredible. Like, a lot of the times you'll see him get off the line of scrimmage before offensive tackles are off their line of scrimmage, so that gives him a huge advantage. And again, technically sound, that's something you don't see in this draft class a lot, especially with edges, is that most of these edges aren't technically sound, they're just athletic freaks, but Azeez Ojulari is very technically sound. But his weakness is that he lacks that explosiveness and agility that those other guys bring to the table, like Jayson Oweh does. So Azeez Ojulari, I personally have an early first round grade on him, and I really do think that he's worth a top 15 pick. But that lack of explosiveness and agility might cause NFL GMs to take other guys like maybe even Oweh over him, if they think that they can develop Oweh into a good pass rusher. So at number 1, and I think by a pretty good margin, is Jaelan Phillips out of Miami. I am a huge fan of Jaelan Phillips. his athleticism, his explosiveness, his technique, just everything you want in a pass rusher he has. And his football IQ is also unmatched by any of these guys, just based on what I saw on tape. But his weakness is that those significant injuries. Like, he literally had to quit at UCLA because of his injuries and his concussion history. So those concussions could be a serious issue. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know how that's going to affect him in the future. But that injury history is a big concern. But I still have him ranked at number 1 regardless. He's just the best overall edge rusher in this class. In my opinion, I don't think it's even close. So those are my rankings for the edge position in this year's draft class. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Again, these are my rankings based on my evaluations, and the media has not influenced me. So let me know what you guys think. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button if you liked it for future content relating to the NFL draft and other NFL stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to check out, and I will see you in the next video.